Hey everybody, welcome back. Devin here, original Grognard, Grognard's Corner, and we are going to be stepping into our first turn playthrough of Wolfpack from SPI, 1974 release in the Strategy and Tactics magazine. It would eventually go on to get its own flat box edition, but we're looking at the kind of a modified magazine version right here. I kind of went over the last video that I'm using a graphically enhanced and altered map that I picked up off Board Game Geek, but I am using scans of the original counters. A couple things I did want to go over, forgot to include in the last video. The counters, and yeah, actually, if you kind of see when I kind of zoom in on them, you can see how they're kind of really grainy and such. Yeah, like I said, 150 DPI, you kind of lose a little something. When I'm looking at them, it doesn't look that bad, but I realize once we get kind of up close on the camera, the graininess really shows through. One thing, these counters have only got one side. Kind of common for a lot of SPI games of the time, not to have a backside. Cost a lot more to get it printed. It was a lot harder to print on both sides for the counters back then. Even a lot of Avalon Hill games, I mean, you really didn't start seeing printing on the backside of counters until 76, 77, something like that. Even most of the games before then just didn't have anything on the backside. Also, I did want to point out, this game does not come with the dice, obviously, because it's one of the magazine games, so hard to get a dice in there. But they did give you, if I can dig it out of the... They have a bunch of chits for you to pull. And there's a reason why they brought and added these chits in. This is a D10 game. This is almost unbelievably unheard of for the time. I mean, nobody used D10s back then except for those geeks that played D&D. So yeah, I was actually kind of shocked and surprised when I discovered this was a D10 based game. So, but I've got my glass. I've got my D10 that we're going to be using, so, we're all good with that. I didn't bother to cut it. I don't like drawing chits. It usually tends to slow things down a little bit. So, yeah, those are the two things I wanted to point out. Oh, a little bit of historical anecdote. During mid to late 70s, a lot of SPI games, their flat boxes, didn't come with dice. This was kind of the period when we were kind of having that oil glut. Sure, some of you are old enough to remember. Hell, I remember it, but that doesn't mean y'all do remember it. Dice are a petrol-based product, and it was just cheaper for SPI to not include the dice at the time. And honestly, most games were a D6 anyway, so who needs dice? I mean, I've got probably 10 bajillion dice around. So yeah, it's kind of a little anecdote that I always thought that was kind of funny, that Avalon Hill continued to include dice. Of course, their bookcase games are $20, $21. And I think SPI flats were what, 12, 14 bucks at the time, something around there. So, but as I said in the last video, we're going to be doing a little something different. This is not me actually just playing the game haphazardly, trying to remember the rules and just going through in a random order. This is me actually going to be going through the exact sequence of play. And I know I probably won't be able to get too zoomed in, but that should be good right there. I'm going to start the sequence of play. But yeah, we've got some storm counters here. We've got some spotted U-boat markers there. So hopefully this may go a little bit slow at the initial, because I will be going through kind of item by item and not glossing over things like I usually do. And plus, as I said, it's my first time playing it, and I'm sitting way back to get the camera in, so it's hard for me to see the charts, so I'm going to have to get up and lean over and look at the charts. But I think we'll be able to get through it relatively painlessly, at least for a few turns. So pretty much we've already done the setup. Go ahead and zoom out. First thing you do is decide the scenario year, or as more properly, the scenario month. As you can see there, February, March, April, May, but technically, supposedly this all takes place in 1942. I explained it in the last video how I'm thinking it. in my mind that I'm actually doing the 42 scenario, and you know, March, April, May. That's not actually the months of 42. It's just further periods down the year. And I realized I probably explained it better in the last video because I was mostly unconscious in the last video, so it seemed to flow better. Anyway, so we're going with the 42 scenario. First thing you do is you set up all your aircraft at the various stations, and there are 4 airfields: Newfoundland, Greenland, what is that up there? Iceland, and Ulster. Over here, number of aircraft points, and the number of aircraft are dependent on the scenario year. So, for example, for Newfoundland, this scenario has range 7 and 3 range 12s. It's different for every year. After that, we separate out the convoy escorts. Now, this is something I didn't get into too much last time, and this is one of the reasons why we see all these white counters over here, because there were no backs to them. The convoy escorts are broken down into 2 groups of 10. 10 eastbound, 10 westbound convoys. 6 of them are fakes, dummy counters. 4 of them are actual real convoy escorts. Now, when a German submarine or Wolfpack actually finally spots a convoy, because we start off with 5 convoys here, and this is kind of an example that I've got set up. The convoy, you know, HX1, 6 movement points. It's a eastbound convoy. You put the escort over the top of it. Actually, it doesn't really say where you put the escort. It just says stack the escort. When the escort is actually, or when the convoy is actually spotted finally by a German submarine, you flip it over. And it could be a dummy, it could be an actual escort. If it's a dummy, you completely remove the dummy counter and the convoy from the gameplay. It's assumed that bad German intelligence, you have no idea where the actual convoy is. So when you break it all down, there are 20 convoys, 5 that start off on the map, and then 15 that show up over the gameplay. You've got 20 escort counters, but 12 of them are fakes. 8 of them are real. So overall, in the 20 convoys that are going to be out there, only 8 of them are going to be real. And we don't know which ones they are until we actually find them. So that's kind of more of a bit of a fog of war. So that's kind of why, from the last video, if you noticed when I was pointing them out, why there is no backs to them. It's just, again, they just didn't have anything on the backs of the counters. So after we set up the convoys and we split out the escorts and put them in their eastbound, westbound dummy groups, then the Germans, the player, because you're playing as the Germans, get a certain number of U-boat points to play with. And in this first scenario, we had 42 U-boat points to play with. And I kind of pointed it out last time. I went with a 1 pack of 12. And you can kind of notice here I've got 2 packs of 6. Oops. And then I've got 3 groups, 3 kind of scattered groups of 6 U-boats out here. For the individual U-boats, their facing really doesn't matter, because really one U-boat can only search in its own hex. But if you'll notice, there's little arrow markers, and I think I showed this last time when I pulled them out. It's got the little arrows on the Wolfpack markers. So each arrow represents 6 U-boats. And that facing is important because that goes into the hexes that a submarine can sight in. Basically, a pack can only spot... Okay, individual U-boats can only spot in their own hex. Packs can only spot the hex in front of them, their hex, and the hex behind them. So facing does kind of become important. And it also is a little bit important for the convoys, because if you notice, the convoys also have arrow markers on them denoting eastbound or westbound convoys. But that also means, so it's just for, oops, let's just for an example, put this convoy out here, say it's moving eastbound. The arrow also indicates, well, the direction that the convoy is facing, but that also is the only hex that the German submarines can attack it from. So for this convoy, for any convoy to be attacked, a German sub has to be in the hex that the direction that it's facing. There's a lot of reasons they go into that behind why, it's harder for, submarines from the back or from the flanks to try to get good lined up shots to intercept, because, submarines ran crap speed underwater. And barely better than that serviced at night when they were running their diesels. So that's kind of the reason. That is kind of a big rule that people have got to try to remember, and evidently people forget. Dark blue hexes are basically not in play, and honestly, there's a lot of dark blue hexes. I'm not even really sure why they were added in graphically. I guess I can understand. So physically, they could have Newfoundland and Greenland and so on and so forth. So dark blue hexes are not enterable by anybody. You've got your normal hexes, which on the normal map are kind of a light blue, but with this graphic redone, it's got this this water mix. But you've also got kind of these two sets, kind of darker dashed blue, and I think you can kind of make it out from this view. But these are fog hexes. Fog zone 1, fog zone 2. This is fog zone 1. This is fog zone 2. And basically, there's a chance for fog to show up. And if there's fog in these areas, then it's harder for ships to spot, harder for attacks to go off, so on and so forth. Also got A, B, and C. These are storm hexes. You got a possibility of a storm showing up, moving across, which is kind of good for the convoys, because if a storm moves over a convoy, the Germans lose track of it, and we'll be getting into that. So yeah, after we've already got the German U-boats and set them up, and I've got my boats set up all over the place, the game starts off with 5 convoys already on the map, and I think, yeah, let's go ahead and just kind of shift the camera a little bit and shift my position. You roll for each of the convoys in turn, and there is this initial setup chart kind of right here. That'll tell you the different possible potential hexes the starting convoys could be in. One of the convoys, I think, could end up a little bit scattered, and then you also roll for the initial storm, if there is even an initial storm. So let's go ahead and do that, because I've already got the Germans set, so the Germans are set up in their positions. So now we got the convoys to roll for. So we're going to be going with the first one, HX1. And we got a 2. And 2 is in 1328, and I have no idea how 1328 is right here. And that is a westbound convoy, or eastbound convoy, and we've got the escort with them. We have not spotted them yet, so we have no idea if that's actually a real convoy or not. Go with the next one, ONS2. It is a 10 or a 0, and that's 1623. See, if I was a clever man, I would have figured out where the potential starting locations were and probably set my boats up around that. But where's the fun in that, right? Okay, next convoy is SC3, and that is in Hex 0311. Okay. And the next one, ON4 is in 1225. Okay, 1225. And the final one, HX5, is in 0707. Okay. And that's not, none of them are scattered, it looks like. So now we got storm to potentially roll for. 6 is no storms on the field at the start. Okay, so there we go. We got kind of a good idea. Those are the escorts, and so now we need to, that's game setup. So now we go ahead and step right into gameplay. See if we can zoom in on that. at least so you can read it. My screen is so small, I can't really read regardless, so I got to kind of, if I zoom in too close, I know I'm going to lose clarity. If I'm too far, I can't read it, and I don't know if you can read it. Well, hopefully you can read this. Let's see, where's my tweezers at? Okay, Convoy initial placement phase, which we've already gone through and done that. Weather phase, remove fog marker if on the map at this time. Okay, so first thing we've got is our weather phase. So first thing under the weather phase is storm movement phase. Draw chit and compare to storm and convoy movement table to determine the direction in which the storm will move. Real easy. If there's a storm already out there, you draw chit, or in our case, roll a d10, and there is a, where is it? Where is the movement table? So that's right up there. There's, and you probably will not be able to see it, but that is the storm and convoy movement table. Draw chit, it tells you either N, which means it'll move northeast, S, which means it'll move southeast, because all storms move west to east in this. There is no east to west storms in this, so you don't have to worry about that. Or it'll have an arrow, which means it just moves directly eastwards. So that's the first thing. If there was a storm, unfortunately there's no storm, so we don't have to worry about rolling on that. But we do need to keep an eye on that, because that's also our convoy movement table. Okay, fog and storm formation segment. Draw chit and compare to the fog and storm formation table to determine the formation of new fog or storm weather. Now, again, if I was a clever man, I would have searched beforehand to make sure I knew where all these tables were. All right, fog and storm formation is right here. Again, it's going off of months February, March, April, May. Can you see that? Yeah, you should be able to see that. So we're doing February, which is the first scenario. So we're going off the February column. So then we draw a D10. And we got a 1, which is SA. Okay, so that means we place a storm marker in each storm initial hex A. So we take a look. There are the A's. So we will put a storm marker in each of the A's. Now what that means is that there is a storm in that hex and all 6 surrounding hexes around it. So basically you're going to have what? I think it's what, 17 hexes of storm? Now we don't roll for movement of it yet, because movement is the first thing you do in the weather phase. This is just a creation. So we know we've got a storm coming here. And we also know that when a storm moves, it's either going to go that way, or that way. So there's a little bit of pre-planning we have to kind of keep an eye on. Okay, so we've got the storm, and there was also no fog. And now the fog is kind of unique in that the fog doesn't move. It's either there or it's not. It's either in Sector 1, Sector 2, or doesn't exist at all. There is no in-betweens. So if it says fog 1, fog 2, what have you. If it says fog 2, that it automatically it means that there's fogs in zone 2 and zone 1. But since we didn't get that, we don't have to worry about it. What's after that? Straggle determination phase. Draw a chit for each inverted convoy and compared to convoy straggle, determine straggling due to weather effects. Okay, one thing, when the storm moves or a convoy moves into the storm, not only do the Germans lose sight of it if they had identified it beforehand, but they also have a chance of getting straggled, which means the ships split up and the escorts have a harder time trying to keep them all together. And then to mark that, you flip them upside down during the storm movement phase to indicate that you need to check for those convoys being straggled. Okay, that's that. Okay, so that is the weather phase. And then next you go into the air phase. Air escort allocation segment. Allocate 1 air group to each qualifying convoy to act as its air escort. Okay, now, for a convoy to be eligible for an air escort, it has to have already been previously identified by the Germans as an actual convoy. So, say for example, in the last turn, I went in, I did my rolls, I spotted this convoy. It's an actual real convoy. We flip it over. It has the escort marker with it. It would be eligible to receive 1 air unit escort. And what you do with the air unit escort is you pull it from the farthest possible airbase that could cover it. So, for example, if we take this one here, it's kind of in the 10 there, 12. It would the escort would come from Ulster because it's further away from Ireland than it is from Ulster, or not Ireland, Iceland. Don't ask me why it does that. It's what they say in the rules. I can read the rules for you if you want. At least I'm fairly certain that's what it says. But basically, that means you pull one of the aircraft from one of the airfields, and it gets to act as a permanent escort for that convoy. However, this being the first turn, and we do not know what what any of the convoys on the map are yet, none of them receive air escorts. Because you remember, they can only have an air escort if they actually have been identified as an actual real convoy. So then, after that, now we start getting into the fun meat and potatoes. Air search segment. All air groups which are not allocated to air escort missions must execute air search attempting to sight U-boats. Air groups which sight U-boats immediately attack those U-boats. Okay, and very, very specific way you're supposed to do it. You start off with Newfoundland, then Greenland, then Iceland, then Ulster, and now this is where it's going to get a little tricky. For every zone band, all aircraft search each submarine that is within range. Okay, so what that means is, first of all, the shortest search bands are 7. So any submarine that is within 7 hexes of Newfoundland, and as we've noticed before, and I kind of pointed out earlier, we kind of have these markings on them to figure out, where the 7 hexes are. So this is, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, look at that at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, so we know, we just draw it out here. That's the range 7. So those 3 submarines are all within range 7. So all 3 of them are definitely going to get searched by that one. But they are also in the range of the 3 12 range submarines. So they will also get to search out for each submarine as well. So these 3 that are within the 7 range band will get the 7 and the 312. So there's going to be 4 aircraft searching for each submarine in the range band 7. And you know what? We're at 22 minutes already, and this camera kicks off after 25, so I'm going to shut down and restart up again so we can go into the exact mechanics of how to do air searches. All right, so we're going to go about the exact search mechanics. So we've already decided that we've got 4 aircraft that can search for all the submarines in the range band 7. So we take those 4 aircraft, compare it to the first submarine. Now, this is they did a good job of explaining it in the rules, and it took me a couple times reading through with it to try to basically figure out what they were saying. But basically, you take the number of aircraft searching, multiply it by the number of submarines in the hex. So, for example, a single submarine, it'll be 1. So you got 4 times 1. Divide that by 6. And it's basically, it's going to be less than 1, but, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but the search table, hopefully you'll be able to see that. The minimum amount is 1. So since we've got 4 submarines times the number of submarines in the hex, which is 1, is 4 divided by 6 is going to be a 1. So you're going to be looking on the 1 column. That's how you determine which column you're going to be looking at. Now, of course, obviously, if it was going against wolf packs, then it would be, 4 times, say, a wolf pack of 6. It'd be 24 divided by 6, which would put it on the 4 column. So we're on the 1 column, and then you have to compare with how close it actually is to the airfield that they're operating out of. You got ranges 1 to 2, 3 to 7, 8 to 10, 11 to 12, 13 to 16, 17 to 20. So you kind of got to keep an eye on the exact actual range. But for our purposes, this is going to be 3 to 7. And since it's going to be on the 1 column with a range of 3 to 7, it's basically only going to spot on a roll of 1. So, and you'll notice if you kind of play the game enough and end up looking at that chart enough, you're going to memorize it pretty quick. So we've got 3 submarines, and we're just going to do this in sequential order. They're all going to be the same. It's all going to be on column 1. It's all going to be in the 3 to 7 range. So it's going to only be on a 1 in 10. So roll for the first one is a 3. Second one is a 1. That one gets spotted. And the third one is an 8. All right, so now they actually did spot that submarine. So you go ahead and put a submarine identification. Now that's not saying they know exactly where it is, because submarines have this unusual ability to, sink, go underwater, but it at least alerts convoys in the potential area, and there are some movement rules that come to when we get to moving convoys. I'll explain it a little bit more, but if there is a spotted submarine, the convoys can actually move around it. But like I said, we'll get to that when we get to that. Now we have to do the actual attack. And where is U-boat, anti-submarine? All right, so let's see if I can zoom in on it. Right there, anti-submarine combat results table, which is used pretty much for escorts and aircraft alike. Oop, ow. Getting too old to get up and down. Okay. So, hadn't actually expected to catch it, so let me review the rules real quick. U-boat packs, scenarios. Okay, so basically for the combat against submarines, it kind of works both, the mechanic is the same for both airstrikes and escorts. Basically, you have the anti-submarine combat table. You tally up the number of attack points that you have, which is basically 1 point per aircraft, and then escorts have their own number on them depending on what scenario you're playing. Obviously, later in the war, they get better anti-submarine values. But so basically, since we spotted this one little submarine down here, he is going to get attacked by the 4 aircraft. So it's going to be 4 points. And so you've got the 4 column, and we just roll a d10 on the 4 column. And we got a 3, which is a P, which is pinned. So now, I should also point out that whenever an attack happens on a submarine group, you break it up into as many attacks against 6 U-boats as you can. So since there was obviously only 1 U-boat here, and we'll go ahead and flip him over, because when the German boat is pinned, you flip it over like that. There are no pinned markers or anything like that. So you just kind of got to remember, if it's a single counter that's upside down, it's a pinned German. If there's 2 counters out there with a flipped over, it's a possible convoy. But as I was saying, you break it up into as many attacks as 6 as possible. So if, for example, had there been, say, a Wolfpack of 12 in there, you'd have broken it down into 2 attacks of 6. So you'd have been able to roll twice and basically apply each dice roll to each group. And the rules say, you've got a pack of 19 boats in a hex, and they get attacked. Well, that's going to be, 6, 12, 18. So you break it down into as many groups of 6 as possible. So there'll be 3 groups of 6, and then one single submarine that's attacked by itself. So that'll be 4 dice rolls you make it against it. So it's pretty good to have a bunch of wolf packs together, because that increases their combat odds and increases their search capability. However, if they do get detected and attacked, all of them get attacked, and potential for bad things happening to all of them. All right, so that is that. So we pinned him. I don't think we rolled for that guy. No, I don't think we rolled for that guy. So we'll roll for searching on that guy. It's an 8. That is going to be a nothing. Now, that is everything for all the submarines. It's in the 7 range band. So now we've got 12. So that's basically going to leave these 3 submarines right here, which are in the 7 to 12 range band, which will be attacked by the range 12 aircraft. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got the range 8 and range 9. And again, that's going to make a difference on our chart. If we take a look at the search chart, it is going to be, again, the number of aircraft searching, which is 3, multiplied by the number of submarines in the hex, which is 1, which is going to be 3 divided by 6 is going to be on the 1 column, but we're at range 8 to 10. All right, so the range 8 to 10, even though they've got the range for it, we can't actually spot them at all. So they're too scattered out, so those guys are actually safe. So we don't have to worry about rolling for those guys. Now, had there been, say, 2, well, let's go with 3 submarines in this hex. And you can stack as many submarines in the hex as you want. The ocean, it's pretty big. And the Wolfpacks just make it easier to stack them. Had there been 3, actually, no, let's make it 6. Say there'd have been a Wolfpack of 6 in there. 6 times 3 would have been 18, divided by 6, which would have been 3, which would have been on the 3 column, which would have given us a chance to spot them at the 8 to 10 range. So the further you are away from the air bases, the better your chances of avoiding being spotted. All right, so we finished with Newfoundland. So let's go to Greenland. Now, I will point out that sometimes, especially over here with Ireland and Ulster, search ranges overlap. It's going to be obvious that, you know, this sub is going to be in the 12 range of the Iceland and the 12 range of the Ulster. However, each air base does not communicate quick enough with them, so each airfield gets to do its own search, and even for a submarine that's been spotted before. So say for in the rolls, Iceland spots this submarine, makes the attack on it, whatever happens with it. During the Ulster phase, the Ulster aircraft also get a chance to try to spot it and make an attack on it. So, but anyways, that will be coming up in a little bit. So Greenland, we've got 7. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, not in range of that Wolfpack. Yeah, no, that's okay. So Greenland's flying searches, but there's nothing there for them to spot. So we go to Iceland. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the minimum, okay, we've got 1-7, 1-12, and 1-16. So we've got 2 submarines in the 7 band, so all 3 of them. So it's going to be 3 divided by, or 3 times 1, which is the number of submarines in each hexes, divided by 6, which is going to put it on the 1 column. So yeah, I don't think we really need to do rules for individual submarines. If they're, let's take a look at the chart. Yeah, individual submarines, it's going to be, yeah, it's only worth rolling under 7. Yeah, they're going to have to come up with 1, 2, 3. They're going to have to come up with at least 7 aircraft to go after a single submarine beyond range 7. But we have that. There is a potential of that out of Ulster, because there's a 3, 6, 7 aircraft operating now there. But so really, we've only got. Yeah, we've only got these 2 submarines that can be spotted from Iceland. Maybe. We've got a pack over here. So we're going to have to check the range on that. So it's going to be on the 1. It's going to be on the 1 column, and it's going to be at the 3 to 7 range. So we'll go for the first one's a 4. Second one's a 3. Neither one of those are spotted. And single submarines beyond 8 hexes, it's not even worth it. But we've got a pack over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 14. So that 16 might have a chance to spot them. Let's see. Is there any... Where's my... Okay, my other pack is way down here, way out of range. And then I've got this pack here, which will also be in range as well. So we got this pack. It's probably going to be in the 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, that's just barely in range. All right, so we got one aircraft. It's got the range on this pack here. So 1 times the number of submarines, which is going to be 6, divided by 6, which is going to be 1 anyway. So, okay, there. And they're beyond 8 hexes. So they're not even going to be able to spot that pack. This pack down here is a pack of 12. So we got 1 aircraft times 12 is going to be 12, divided by 6, which is going to put it on the 2 column. So as I said earlier, the more submarines you have, the more strike power you have, but easier it is to get detected. So looking on the chart, and I really do hope that this comes out so you folks can see it. So we've got the 2 column at a range of 16, which is going to be a 1. And we rolled a 0. Was it 0 or 10? 10s or zeros? In this game, dice rolls are zeros. Are zeros? They're not 10s. All right. So that actually spots that 16. Actually managed to spot this pack here. So that pack is going to get a spotted marker. And now we're going to do the attack. It's just like it was last time. Unfortunately, this time we've got 1 aircraft. So the attack value is going to be a 1 because there's only 1 aircraft. But since it's a wolf pack of 12, we got to break down the attacks into 2 separate packs, or into as many groups of 6 as possible. We're going to be rolling twice. And really, I need a 9. Anything else isn't going to do anything. So we got a 0 and a 2. All right, so that pack is spotted, but we didn't do anything to it. Okay, so that is all for Ireland, or Iceland. Now we have Ulster. So we've got 10 and a bunch of 12s and a 16. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and take a look at this submarine first. It's going to catch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 1 is 7 divided by 6. That's actually going to put it on the 2 column. So we take a look at the 2 column for search. And it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexes away. So on the 2 column, 6 hexes away. Again, we're looking at a 1. Great. And it's a 2, so that doesn't catch it. All right. So basically, we go through the other submarines. Yeah, these 3 are going to catch the full 7. So that's going to be 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that one's actually closer. Okay, but that's still gonna be on the 3 to 7 column, which is gonna be a 1. And yeah, actually, it's gonna be a 1 all the way out to 16 hexes for those submarines to try to catch 1 submarine. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and roll for all those, and then we'll worry about this wolf pack down here first. So just because of the way the chart works out on the 2 column, actually no, those 4 are going to be on the 2 column. These 2 are going to be on the 1 column because there's going to be 1 less aircraft flying. All right, so but still with the ranges and everything. Let's see. This one is going to be Oh, yeah, even the chart, even at that range, it's still going to be a 1. So we're looking at 1s on all of them. Long way around to getting there, but we got there. So 1, nothing, nothing. Come on. Ah, come here. Nothing. Nothing. Okay, they get spotted. That one gets spotted. All right, so it gets attacked by 1, 2, 3. It's going to get hit by 7. So all 7 of those aircraft are going to go ahead and scream in on that one. The maximum column on the anti-submarine table is the +6. So you can see that the 6+ column. So roll for effect is a 1, which is not, it's just going to pin it. That was a chance for them to actually knock out a submarine. They didn't do it. Okay, so that's all the submarines, the individual submarines right there. And now we've got this pack, which is going to be at the, I believe, 13 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, let's see. Do I count it from now? Okay, I got to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I got to count it from that hex. Not that hex. So that is going to be 13, which means only one submarine or one aircraft is going to be able to have the range to spot them. So it's going to be 1 aircraft. Oh, yeah, well, no, it's going to be 1 aircraft after 12 because it's a Wolfpack. So it's going to be on the 2 column. So I'm going to need a 1 to spot them. Nothing. All right. So long roundabout way of getting there, but we got there. To surmise and to, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I am so smart with words sometimes, and in other words, I can't remember how to say poo. Oh, well, anyways. Each airbase, check for the ranges, do the little math, figure out what column you're rolling on, roll to see if you can spot them. If you spot them, then roll to attack them, and apply the effects. As you can see, you're probably going to get pretty good after a few turns because, I mean, like I said, taking a look at the column, even if you manage to get it to the 2, you're still going to be needing a 1 or a 2 at range 1 to 2, and I'm not guessing many subs are going to get that close. So it's going to be a roll of 1. It's not until you start getting, you know, really high amounts of aircraft going after Wolfpacks that you're going to get much higher. So that chart is probably going to be easily memorized. You're going to be able to memorize it easily. See, words are failing today. All right, so that's the air search segment. You know what? We're pushing close to an hour right now, so let's go ahead and put this on hold, and we will get back in the next video onto the naval phase, which consists of the convoy movement. Convoy movement determination, the actual convoy movement, and then into the U-boat operations phase. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section, and I will see everybody next time. See ya!